Perfecto. Today, it is May 25th on a Tuesday, and we're going to create some native advertising creatives, teasers, ads. Everybody's just hopping on right now. We'll take a minute to get everybody connected to the audio. Then we'll get up and running. The primary, most important one for the new people, which I see a couple, is that the cameras have to be on and participation on my questions is mandatory. I see a lot of familiar faces. We'll create some beautiful ads today, not for my campaign necessarily, but for some of you. And I know one person who just switched to Native Ads. You know who you are, and we're going to build some amazing creatives for you to get you started. All right, so I have some tools today. I will do a little bit of a screen share first. If you could enable that for me, Stanley, that would be great. Then what we'll do is we'll build out some ads on some specific verticals. We'll do some analysis on why this might be beneficial in terms of the 5 rules of a good creative, walk through it step by step. And then obviously we have some deliverables. Alrighty, there we go. So let me know if you all can see this. This is just Google, and we'll get started with the complete build. What I would like to do is get Murat here, and then Murat can tell me what he's actually going to do. I will start there. So perhaps it would be smart for me just quickly to pull up a Google Sheet. Murat, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you.
All right. We'll start the journey into native. I will do Murat today, and we'll pick up Marianne as well for some beautiful creatives. Although we have not selected exactly the offers per se, probably, we know which angle we need to be. Murat, what in terms of products would you like to promote? Which vertical?
I have not think about it a lot. I started thinking about it actually today. I think Neutron is interesting.
Okay. Anything else apart from this?
Crypto.
Crypto. Okay, that's the big boy game, eh? Maybe a little too ambitious on the crypto.
Yeah, I assume that also.
It is fine. Neutron is fine. I know Marianne wants to do Neutron. You can unmute yourself if you want, and then you can. Yeah, there we go. Good morning.
Good morning.
Anything specific in Neutron that sparked your interest?
Well, it's going to be either weight loss or supplements related to overweight conditions, you know, like heart, blood sugar, diabetes, heart conditions.
Good, specific. I like. Perfect. All right, so we can already see that on the weight loss, we know the angles. I think it will be quite easy to make good creatives, but I would like to do this one because I think that one's quite interesting. So we'll start with the Neutron weight loss in general, and then we'll do one for blood sugar if we have time, and if there are no questions, then we can continue to let's see. Yeah, we have loads of time, guys. We have loads of time. All right, perfect. Any questions before we start in terms of the build? Anything you guys want to see in the highlight process, or let's just go for it?
Let's go for it.
Yeah, all right. Let's do it. In terms of the Neutron, we need obviously a specific angle that we're going to use. So ideally in the general process, you would write your angle and then 3 sub-angles. Today we'll pick 1 sub-angle and leverage the creatives for that. Anybody here can give me a good sub-angle for Neutron weight loss? See some hands? You all are very smart people. Elena, let's do it. I did pronounce your name right this time, yeah?
I hope everybody is all right. So one sub-angle would be plus 50 male Positive male.
Males?
Males.
Okay, interesting. But we cannot target gender nor age. So I was more looking for a copywriting angle.
What?
A copywriting angle. For example, like overweight, emotion, risk, children, adultery. Those would be angles for somebody who is obese.
Overweight people.
And then overweight, and then what is connected to it?
Overweight, low self-esteem.
Okay, perfect. So self-esteem, like this. Self-esteem is probably not one word. In terms of how we could angle this in terms of a creative, what would the pictures look like?
Like a fat guy looking sad or worried.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. Thanks, Elena. That's very good.
Thank you,
All right,
brother.
now we have one. I saw Damien who had another one. Which one can we use?
So you'd have, like fitness. So again, it would be overweight, but unable to move around, be active. So you could have, again, an angle of like a fat person sat on a couch just eating burgers, where you've got other people in the gym enjoying themselves. That sort of.
This one, the first one, is a good one as is. Let's give this one a shot. Yeah. So we have the low self-esteem, which I think these things go hand in hand. As soon as you're unable to move around, you're not too confident in how you look, and we could leverage this. I think there are some classic pictures. So if we would do something like extreme obesity, you would probably get there. Right, these are all males, and that's obviously a problem. I know for a fact that this image, there is one variant of this image that works really well, just from past data that I know. However, it has to have a correlation with the solution. So for example, something like this is giving awareness, but in the wrong way, right? Because this is too close to home in terms of the behavior that they might be experiencing. So you could test this definitely, because it's one angle. So the same pattern in terms of no males, only females in the images always stands, because males like females, but males don't like males, right? To look at. One thing that is very important on native is that loose skin is usually allowed, but not in the extreme sense. So this will not get approved, right? It's too intense. Why? Because this induces fear. Which is not allowed. Something like this would be allowed. I don't even want to know if this is her leg or her stomach, but obviously absolutely disgusting. In terms of what we would be looking for, is we can also do a extreme obese woman, right? And here you're going for the more extreme angle, which automatically gives you emotional recognition towards the problem. However, your average potential buyer doesn't look like this, right? They're a lot less fat, and this is more, if you continue what you're doing, this will be the end result. So of course, we always take our time scrolling through, looking for those creatives that, one, fit the right size, which is very important, which I can show you. So this one is obviously very classic before and after with an obese structure, but this would be a before and after angle, right? Same here, again, the before and after, and she has a lot of loose skin, which is pro tip number one. Yes, there is drastic fat loss, but people do not desire loose skin because it creates another emotional problem, right? So then you go from big problem to small problem, but still a problem, not a solution. So that is very important. Obviously, here you have a very big spree of good images, but they all do not fit the teaser size, except this one and probably this one, where this doesn't even look fat. This looks more like pregnant, and she's holding her breath here, but you probably won't see it on ad. But this could be an image that might be suitable for a before and after. Here we're looking more for a straight obese image. So we have to play around with the keywords. If you struggle finding the right size, go to tools, and here you can manipulate the size that you're looking for. Right? Very simple little trick, but if we do large, we only get large images. So if you find images that are pixelated because they're too small and you're trying to stretch them, then obviously make sure that you go for the large size, and then you'll find images with the resolution, which you see here, they're all really big, right? All right, in terms of the keywords, who has some inspiration on where we should go? Because now we have extreme obese woman, we can do obese women, we can do obese women, and you will have the standard structure, right? So if you click her, you'll get more pictures like her in terms of the obesity. Still, you struggle with the aspect of them being extremely fat. So the relatability of these people is more, as I said, fear-induced than anything else. So the obese one might not be the best angle, right? The unable to move around, from experience, it is never the best working angle, right? Low self-esteem might be a better one, right? So we'll say, here we don't go to obese, but we go to fat. And then obviously the dress style is very important in terms of what they can wear and how good it would look. The perfect image would be like this. So I wanted to explain it, but it's actually shown here. It is the same woman in different clothes, right? Here you could propose she's lean, here she's fat. That would be a more drastic example, right? Because here it's not too clear, it's probably the same weight. The only thing is the dress that makes it look different. What is important, however, that in the eye of the consumer, it is different, yes? Weight loss is all about feeling. The biggest obstacle is the obstacle in their head that they think they can solve by buying this magic pill, which makes them lose weight, which obviously makes them quite gullible, and you want to tap into this by having a little drill down. All right, let me show you some examples when we go back to the document. Overweight, low self-esteem, do you look like this? Fat, all right? All right, so we know we need a horizontal image. To be able to create a horizontal image, we would need medium or large images, right? No icons, medium is usually too small, so we would have to angle it large. So we can do woman, diet, change. You would have to play around with these keywords, and you can use related images. So when you open this, obviously you have a full relatable images here. Don't make the mistake and leverage things like Adele, right? Because I know it is very tempting, but these artists obviously have very big copyright teams, which do not allow images of them to be used. Because Adele used to be fat, and now she's skinny. You can barely recognize her. That is the same person, the same singer. But obviously that would be very well. Okay, what I see a lot is images like this, right? People provide this on the coaching, or images, let me give you another example. Or maybe not this, but it would be the same sense, right? Where either the quality is not good or the framing, like this is a 3-part image with little overlap, right? What are we actually looking at? There's so many things going on. Okay, this is the woman. The question is it the same woman? What's up with the background? Why is she wearing such colorful things? My eyes on this image are going everywhere, which means they're going nowhere, and we're not going to click. So the focus on the image by itself is already very important. Again, the 5 rules to good creatives will guide you in a sense to what you're looking for in the end of the day. Such an image like this, but that's obviously the power of the before and after. Fat, not fat. Neutral background, mountains with snow. Neutral background, wooden cabin, right? The message is very clear, and I would say maybe not simple to understand, but a lot easier to understand than any of your sophisticated angles where you think you know what the customer is thinking, but you're thinking for them, you're not thinking what they would be thinking. And what you get is you get an audience mismatch. You hope to achieve something, and you're basically making a bunch of assumptions, achieving something else. All right, but then of course we have transformation usually into cat, no, just transformation. Before and after, I would say probably 90% of the time outcompetes any angle because it's so relatable. The problem herein is, one, you need the right age group. Two, they cannot be too fit and they cannot be too skinny, right? They cannot have loose skin, and they need to fit the ethnicity of the target audience. And then six, you cannot use ones that have been used forever. So if you go anywhere in the top 3 pages or the top 5 scrolls, all of these images are depleted. They've been ran by affiliates so many times. So you would want to get, ideally, well, this one obviously has ugly skin. Images like this you also don't use because she's in a bodybuilding tournament and like in a bikini class or something, which means that she's like professional or has dieted significantly. But anything like this, you would Photoshop a better lighting, right? You get related images, and then the related images, just like before, is usually the best source of information, because this is what you will not find here. This is from page 28 or a different keyword where you find the gold. Okay, so the Neutron is usually pretty simple, right? So it's the weight loss. So the first one is fat people, right? And that's the emotion again. Then the second one is before and after, is probably the biggest one. And then you have what the affiliates a lot of the times use. It has like the weird fruit, weird drink, all that stuff, which is suitable, but usually it doesn't work with anything else than a video sales letter, where it's also used. So that's very important to consider if you run anything like MaxWeb or ClickBank, then it might be suitable, right? But if you would apply it to a straight sale COD, the significance is a lot less because it's not used in the flow. All right, the blood sugar one is obviously more advanced, which gives you a lot of freedom. Why? Because 90% of the affiliates run this, and the entire series, there's probably like 4 more like this, is only run by 10%. However, that 10% probably still makes the same amount of money as this, because things like blood sugar, heart failure, diabetes are present in an audience which is also obese, right? It's the primary cause of these effects. Does that make sense? If you know anything about health or anything like that. All right, blood sugar. I want to here, I cannot see you guys, I just minimized the window. So who here can give me, why? You want to try? Can you give me one angle for the blood sugar, please?
Well, I would go, well, first thing come to mind is the fear angle. So maybe some kind of ugly image of unhealthy people with trouble with blood sugar, high blood sugar.
What would that look like? That's the question. High blood sugar is obviously quite difficult. Because I have an angle which I think, oh, this is the amazing angle. That's why I picked this one. But I want to see if anybody else probably thought of that. Because fear would be a good one. Because
I think I would have to do some Google search around to see what's the symptom of high blood sugar, you know, and find something maybe that's disgusting, or maybe peeing blood, for example, something like that.
That's intense. Okay, so what's important, again, high blood sugar, peeing blood, I don't think it's related, but what you're doing is you're looking for extreme connection, right? Because blood is the same, and then blood sugar, peeing blood might not actually be related in that disease. I don't know, because I don't know anything about blood sugar, but we don't want to spend too much time in prepping these angles and reading journals of medicine, right? We want to make ads. So we want to make them as crazy as we can and as powerful as we can. And I think peeing blood would be interesting, a little hardcore, but you're a hardcore affiliate, so let's see what we can do. All right, thanks, Y. Anybody else? Raise your hands, Stanley. Just let me know.
We do have some hands. I see a hand from Sudhakar, Damien, and Ahmed. So we'll start with Sudhakar.
Sure.
Yeah. So, Colin, the fear of the pain of everyday injections, like that's one of the things I think a lot of people who have the blood sugar every day, they have to take the shot, and it's painful.
All right. So one thing we cannot, how would we describe this? Because injections are counted as weapons and we cannot use that. So a needle is not allowed to be shown in the ads. So what would be a different way of showing the insulin, basically?
There is one more also, is like because of the blood sugar, they may lose like some of their leg or any, like the wounds will get
the laying wounds. I don't know what it's called. I only know what it's called in Dutch, but it's super nasty. All right, perfect. That's a very real fear. Yeah, so it's like the pressure wounds. When you lay on it too long and you have like low blood sugar or high blood sugar, I don't know how it works, but your skin turns black and it's basically dying. Perfect, Sudhakar. Let's go to Ahmed next.
Hello, yes. I would say a daisy face, because you have like when you feel your blood sugar is low, you feel daisy.
Yeah, perfect. How would we describe this in an image?
In an image, we can get a photo with a daisy face, like eyes is a little bit closed or something like this.
Perfect. Perfect. Thanks, Ahmed. Very good. Okay, 3. What I was thinking of is what we'll look for first is like blood sugar. I was thinking like of a blood soup, like a real thick bloody soup, like to eat. It's maybe a little bit nasty and a little bit intense, same as peeing blood probably, but I think these African tribes, I like to watch a lot of food videos, like food review online and stuff where they go to countries, and they drink cow's blood raw. And I think such an angle, I don't know, too much blood is not allowed on native, right? But we might see if we can do like African blood drink. Okay, there we go, you see? And that's just because I like to watch these videos and I see, like, I actually watched this guy drink this like blood. And if you would make like, they probably make some kind of blood soup and it has like lumps in it. It's like not disgusting for us, but it would be a great ad. Like something like this, but this is too red. So here you cannot really see it's blood. Well, maybe this would be, instead of your regular fruit angle and everything like that, this is obviously something that is kind of similar, but way different. Because this is actually cow's blood. Look how thick it is. It's a little, I hope nobody just had breakfast. Look at this. It just amazes me because this, the problem is that with this image we looked at before, the skin, right? It's not relatable and the ground. So we would have to find an image where it's either the thing on its own or we would have to angle the African tribe angle. Right, African tribe finds medicine or whatever there, and that's like your standard village lab. This is what I was thinking of, which you can explore, which is obviously very unique because you'll probably find like 2 or 3 very good images, which are so random, but very underutilized, right? Okay, let's go for dizzy next and then pick up the wounds. So I would go for an emoticon or this sketch, probably, dizzy sketch, where we have somebody, okay, so sketch is not the right keyword. Animation is probably better. Okay, yes, like this. This is something I would like, but I would say dizzy might be quite difficult to portray. That's why I always ask, like, how would you see this in terms of an image? Because dizzy person, perhaps, you will probably get a lot of stock photos, yeah. Okay, in a scenario where you have no other choice than to use, because this is more like the fucking skull pain or whatever it's called, headache, instead of dizziness. The dizziness itself, something like this would be very powerful, right? Because this is what the user is experiencing. Although this might be a stock image or something like this, it would have to be the go-to angle, right? However, relating the dizziness to the blood pressure, would it make sense for all users? I don't know. I think it's a very creative angle, but not as powerful. I think obviously the diabetes leg, like these wounds and stuff, it's very nasty. And it's very much relatable because this is the ultimate fear for, I don't think anybody wants their food to look like this, right? It's or like this. So this would be too much blood. It's too graphic to run. But you can look for things that look similar to this, but are a little bit less aggressive. Like, for example, this. Nobody wants their foot to look like this, I think. Where the fear of their experience will automatically make them buy if there's any possible solution, because there is no solution for this, right? With diabetes, you need to keep up with your insulin. If you don't, this is the result. And usually the insulin goes up, I think, over the years. I'm not too sure, too familiar with it, but this is obviously the recommendation from Sudhakar is a very, very strong one. Where, for example, this, where the fear-induced angle is very much present, very much so. Okay, then you have being blood, where I would say the disgusting one, the symptoms. So we would say blood pressure. What is the thing called, which is like the thermometer, which is outside? What is that called? Anybody knows? Anybody wants to shout it? Oh, there we go. Blood pressure thermometer. Apparently that's a thing. All right, there we go. I thought something like this would be like a chart or something, where it's like, but this is all like stock images. But this would be like something like this, danger, get help, or this one would be nice. It's a stock image though, and it's not the right dimensions, but this is, if you have something like this, you're probably going to the right direction. You could even make them yourself. It will take some time, obviously, but those might be interesting images. I wouldn't recommend something like this because it's a little too intense, right? You cannot see these words on the native ads because it's so small. Something to consider. For the sake of it, let's just type in this and see what happens. Yes, this would probably be one of the best images because he's looking at you and he's a little weird, but this is very intense, right? I don't think this will go through compliance because there's very little rules on native, but the rules are hardcore. No blood, no weapons, no sex, no drugs. You can try, but it's a little disgusting actually. And you would have to find the pattern there. But as you can see, probably the blood drink is the strongest one, in my opinion, on a creative angle. I would say the highest conversion will probably come from your, what Sudhakar said, the second one. And I would say probably, okay, let me write mine. So I will write some blood soup. Number 2, the wounds will probably be the highest converter, then the fear, and then the dizziness, because I don't think it applies for everything. Any questions about this so far? Remarks? Some hands, please, if you have.
Yeah, we do have one question from Damien.
Mm-hmm.
Just with that one there, Colin, as well, with the blood sugar, actually I'm running one of these at the moment. And if you look into like strokes, heart attacks, going on to the dizzy part, if you put in strokes, there's quite a lot of animated images that show like pain coming from the head, and some of the actual, I mean, I've checked with the AM at MGID because I was going to look at some of the actual stroke images, and they said that they probably wouldn't pass mediation because they're compliance because they're quite graphic. Because I was looking at using, you know, like the woman at the top where her face was actually in a position of having a stroke.
Yeah, you would have to push them through anyway. So even if they say like it might not get approved, just run them through and to see what happens. Yeah, definitely. You know, it depends on the angle you take, because I think we did these images before, right? The brain ones, haven't we? Yeah. I like, right? But it really depends on how the audience would respond. And there we go back to the training on audience behavior patterns, where the angle is either hit or miss. This one is very graphic, but I can imagine it's also not that appealing. It's too much, right? Let's like overweight, promoting an obese person, it's too much. But anybody wants a solution for anything like this. Diabetes, whether it's stroke, blood pressure, heart failure, kidney failure, everybody's just looking for a solution, and the solution is there. It's change your diet, change your exercise, those kind of things. Unless you have gone too far or like chronic, but most of those cases are not chronic.
I went with
they want
so
a quick fix, right?
an awareness angle. So do you know the 3 signs of stroke? You know, and that was I went with more of an aware instead of, so it's a fear stroke awareness. It's like what are the signs of an upcoming heart attack? And my image was someone clutching their chest. So it was, yeah, I went more awareness than actual, I suppose, shock. Probably I steered off the shock as such. But that's something I'll give a bash to now.
And even in the testing phase, you know, when you rush through 100 creatives, you run 10 angles, you'll end up with the best things. This is basically what you should use, is these top things. I don't think we've seen them before, but when you use a broad enough keyword, you can basically go quite in depth, and it will just keep flushing out new. Oh, this one is intense, right? But the sign is too small for a creative. But you basically, with Google, of course, this one is very nice. With Google, of course, you have an infinite supply of images. And what you have to understand is that the first and the second page of any large keyword has been ran hundreds of thousands of times. So you'll have to dig deeper. And the recommended images is one of the best sources I've ever seen. So once you find an interesting image, it might not be it, just click it anyway, go to the recommended images, and usually there's like, I like this one, but for Damien, we know that this angle doesn't work that well. But the images are very much according to the contrast, high definition, good color palette, right? All the things that we want in a good creative they present. And that's why these images often work. This images style works really great for the brain power pills for students, right? All right. Cheers, Damien. Anything to add to this, or all good?
No, all good, all good.
Perfect. Anybody else has anything to add to this, or we can move on to the next one?
Yeah, I see White with his hand up.
Sure.
Yeah, I have a quick question. In terms of the blood soup angle, can you show 1 or 2 example, like because one challenge I face with like a new kind of angle is I don't know what image is actually a good one.
Okay.
So can you show 1 or 2 image that you would use? Thanks.
Sure. Okay, so when I type in, good question, blood soup, we get the original dish blood soup, right? So we'll have to go back to the African tribe blood, drinking raw blood, stew, milk. It will take me some time, right, to find the right image, but at least then we have something. This one is scary as well. And one thing that would be prominently utilized is, I think this one is a little too small, but we can try. Never do we use a 3-part image because there's too much going on. However, we can use a 2-part image on Native, and I'll try to make one for you right now. So we will run, so many things here. Let me just try this this layout, although it doesn't fit probably the right dimensions for your exchange, but just to get an idea what we can do. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll move this one here. Okay, perfect. She's scary, yes, but she drags a lot of attention. And if you would look at this, you will definitely not say Western Europe or US or anything like that, right? We would either say India, that region, or Africa. So what we'll do is we'll find the blood soup because the angle is the soup. Yes, this one has a person in it, and we already have a person. So ideally, we would want something like this. However, too much foam, there's flies on the hand, and there's a body there present. We would have to go back to something like this. I think this is the one we had before, no? Okay. Again, we want to, let me just continue my search to see if there's anything else available that we might be able to use. Messiah, I want to say, yeah, okay. Messiah. There's the people with the staffs who jump, I believe. Not too sure. Yep. Oh, damn, this guy. World knowledge. Audience behavior patterns. Okay, there we go. Let me just try this one. Because at the end of the day, you know, it's not about searching hours and hours for images. It's just making that proper connection between the two. because we know this image is way too big, right? But that's good because I don't necessarily want to have too much brown on it. So what we'll do is this bracelet, when we look at the image, is dragging a lot of attention. This is basically the primary thing. The skin color blends with the ground, and this is his jacket or something, which blends again with the background, right? So it's this thing, the yellow and on the black, the contrast, and this nasty soup. And we want the focus to be on the soup. So what do? We make the image bigger because it's HD anyway, and we remove the bracelet, right? Now the question is, would this make sense to leave as an image? Okay, by itself, it's a little, there's not a proper overlap, right? So right now it's too big. So let's make it smaller. No, it's not good. Why not? Because this, you cannot see what the actual action to be performed is. You see hands, right? But you cannot see where they're coming from. What is this? You cannot see. You see this is a cup, but the, what's it called? The hold thing is not in the image. So is this just a cup of paint? It looks more like paint than blood, right? This is an example of where the copy drives the click and the image only drags attention. So when we would write some copy with this image is something like this. Something like this, right? Because I think with insulin, you can also go blind or something like this. This would be the copy. The copy is problem solution. And then this image is all about getting into the pattern. However, we want the blood soup to be the attention grabber, which here it's useless. This is the attention grabber because this is a freaky face. If you see this inside your news feed or whenever you're scrolling on any blog, this is what makes you click, right? So let me give a little example of a Dutch website with the news on it, which for all my Dutch people here, you can read the last news. Oh, I need to turn off my ad blocker. And then we basically can see what the native ads look like, because in every country, so these are ads, but these are contextual. I think I have to click something. Let's click on, okay, these are display ads. It's all display. I know for sure we have ads, but maybe more under, they have a thing called entertainment, I think. Films and series, movies, soccer, probably under the soccer, football. There's some ads. Again, display. Okay, never mind. Dutch people don't like ads, right? People don't click on ads. That's why perhaps better to go to here and find some native ads here. Okay, this is watchables. Paid partner content. I think that was here. Outbrain. Yes, Outbrain. These are quite big, these native ads. You will not often see them this big. So this is native, this is display, right? Can you imagine? This one drags all the attention. He's looking into your soul. This one is fucking boring. This one is boring, right? But Volvo doesn't care because they have crazy amounts of money. It's just a branding campaign, right? This is Rotten Tomatoes, which usually would have a good ad, but this one is so much stronger because he's staring into your soul. Okay, what about this one against this one? I would take this one any day because this one is even more intense, right? She is not staring rightly against you, but you just wonder, what is she looking at, right? Okay, don't be an amateur and make this mistake. Let me just run the Google. Give me a second, because I see people do this all the time. When they have such a good angle, they mess it up by making like a classic rookie mistake. And I can honestly tell you it doesn't work, and I will tell you why in a second. So what they do is they basically do this. Oh yes, product positioning. The woman is looking at the product and this is the solution. What happens is 5 rules of a good creative. There is no curiosity because you're exposing the solution before they have entered the engagement funnel, right? So what happens here is they either click and won't buy or never click and you're still left with 0 conversions. So never do this when you're trying to make a proper funnel. Okay, so now we know what the native ads look like, what our opportunity is. That's why I like where people are staring intensely, but we need a different image in terms of the blood, right? This is a dishwashing situation, so we'll have to play around with the keywords or go more detailed, which I think this might be a good opportunity. And at the end of the day, you would just have to try it, right? You probably have to make a folder on your computer with hundreds, if not thousands of random images, which you delete never, because you basically create a library. Just name them properly, because I don't do this, and then it will be very messy. Okay, I think this one is good. Okay, could be better. We'll look for another one, but this one is at least clear. There's clearly a glass, there's somebody holding it, but this red against this red is reducing the strength. We all know that this is a bucket. Yeah, somebody is pouring from a bucket into this glass. So that's all clear. Now the question is, where's the focus? The focus is looking, are we looking at this or are we looking at this? We all assume that we're looking at this, right? But even if I would look at this, then my eyes go here just to figure out what this is. It's just, you're conscious, right? And that's not what we want. If this would be dirt, it would be a great image. And yes, this is how you spend hours on creating creatives, but this is also how you get the highest ICTR, by getting a good understanding of how things work and how they fit all together. So if we even do see more, there would probably be a little bit more opportunity here. And even if you cannot find more, then it is what it is, right? You run the best creative that you have, and we're not going to not run a campaign because we know for sure this is very interesting. This one would be, you can definitely see this is blood, and this one would fit properly, but it's a stock image. This one as well. So probably, as you can see, there's not that many pictures. Obviously no coincidence, because they don't have cameras. So these are all made by people who don't live there. But this is the very good image that we already tried and didn't work. So we'll have to settle for this. I like this one even less probably than this one. Make sense? With this, now you have a super unique angle, which probably nobody has ever tried. Probably, most likely. But the question is, will it get approved? Because it's obviously quite intense. This looks like soda, but we all know it's not soda, right? Well, it's the dirty kind of soda. All right, perfect. Let's do another session for, how much time do we have left? Oh, we have some time.
We also have one more question, if you have time for a question from Fexley.
Yes, we have time.
Hi, Colin. I want to ask, how do you balance the effect of catching attention and causing allergy by using these a bit horrible and unusual images in your ad?
Right. So it's attention versus what exactly?
Causing bad feelings, causing some allergies.
Yeah, fair. And then, yeah, perfect. I got it, actually. Thank you. Okay, so obviously this is a very important balance. We did a live training not too long ago on audience behavior patterns, so I recommend you watch that specific video. The balance should be where you approach it as a consumer, right? We're advertisers, but you try to get into the mind of your target audience, where we need to make a realistic assumption, because we don't like to make assumptions, but along the way, you need to make some assumptions, right? In any scenario, over the top would be too much, right? Fat, obesity, life-threatening, any direct fear angle. Fear is fine, right? But cause and effect, and not necessarily only the effect. There needs to be a connection with the existing problem. So that's number one, yes? If you have a very strong, scary angle, connect to the problem so there's some relatability. Because if I tell you guys, you're going to die, yeah, but when would be the question. But if I would tell you you would die tomorrow, then everybody's scared all of a sudden, right? That makes sense. In relation to the attention is our biggest mover, right? That's our advantage. So the more curious people are, and that's just a natural human thing, what animals also have. If I wrinkle a bell and there's 5 dogs, cows, horses, they all come have a look, right? Because they want to know, what is this bell sound? Little do they know, I run a butchery and I kill them all, right? But that's cause and effect on the attention span of human beings, animals, anything like this. And we want to tap into that fear by getting their attention. And if you combine it, you get the click. And at the end of the day, if we look at this, actually, this situation, these are ads that are targeted towards us. This one is in Dutch, but my browser is in English, but my IP is obviously Dutch. So 2 Dutch ads, 2 English ads. Which one is going to get our attention? I would say if I would have to choose one, it's this one, right? It's not really scary, but I'm just curious why he's looking at me like this, right? Because he looks a little strange. I think he is, it says, Tigo is officially the richest man in the world. This guy, I don't think so. But if I click it, Editors Nation, this is very bad. They use Google Translate because this is German and this is Dutch. So they mixed it, which is a very bad rookie mistake. That's why you never use Google Translate. Weiter means proceed in German, and the text is in Dutch. But this is basically a simple one-click. This is an AdSense, but I'm blocking AdSense. So they have an opt-in for push database, but I have ads blocked. So this is like a AdSense arbitrage, but it's not something we do because it's for noobs. Okay, I gave a very broad answer factually, but does it make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Perfect, you're welcome. Anybody else? Or are we going back to the blood soup?
I don't see any hands.
No? Alrighty, then we have time to
do...
Oh, damn.
Just one question, quick question. Why?
I cannot see you, but I assume that's Aleno, yes?
Yeah, that's me. Why don't you do click arbitrage, just to know?
Why no click arbitrage? Because it's a volume game, right? And with the volume, so I have consulted on a project before in Amsterdam. It requires over 14 people to do $1 million in revenue per month, right? So compared to, it's very labor intensive, it's a lot of testing, and it's very unstable because it goes on RPM, right? So it goes on what is the advertiser willing to play on the display side compared to the native side. So it's always tier 2, tier 3, and it's just, in my opinion, like an old school business model, which is more suitable for tier 2 or tier 3 affiliates with lower budgets. So if you want to run native on, let's say, $20 a day, go arbitrage, because then at least you'll make some money.
Thank you.
Make sense? Perfect. Who's next? Let me just open the entire view so I can see everybody. Ooh, Romo, good day to you. Glad that you joined us again. All right, I have some questions for you guys. I will play a little game like we usually do to see how smart we are all together. All right, I have a list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I need the 5 rules to a good creative. Yes, everybody can only shout 1, not 2, and we're not going to shout, we're going to take turns. And because the first one, I assume, is the start of something great, Elijah's, what are we going to do? Any one of the 5.
Idea. I think the first one could be great image of the creative.
Great image. Okay, and what does a great image entail? So one of the 5 rules.
5 rules for the image.
5 rules to get creative.
5 rules to get creative. Great image and.
No, it's okay if you don't know. Okay, what we'll do is we'll make a list. Stanley, anybody who cannot answer this, you send the recording of the 5 steps to a good creative after this call. Yeah, so everybody can learn. That's how we work.
Sure.
But great image, that's the first step. Okay.
High quality.
Yeah,
high quality.
We only talk when we're giving the floor. Yeah, so no shouting. So now you're being skipped. But you said high quality. I did hear it. But there's 5 specific rules, yes, which are very important to know because we need this by default. But Elijah, thank you. You'll get a video after this call where you can learn all the steps. Yes, it's quite long. I think it's 1 hour, but it will be helpful. All right, one of the more experienced affiliates. Please give me one of these 5. Just raise your hand if you know one.
I saw Rommel with his hand up. Damien.
Yeah, Rommel, Damien, why? Let's do Rommel.
I think one is keep it simple.
I would say that's a general rule. So we have high quality from Sudhakar. Keep it simple. That's all true, but that's not one of the 5 rules, if I'm not mistaken, because now I try to think of them, but I'm not really sure. I'm missing one, I think. I thought Marianne put her hand up. Thanks, Rommel.
Clear contrast.
Okay, so we need a high contrast on the image. That's 1. Perfect. 10 points for you. High contrast. One of the most important ones, yes, we need to have a good color resolution to be able to make the element we're looking at the image pop, right? In this scenario, the contrast here is the red on the brown. The red jumps forward because there's a brown egality space behind it. So that's number 1, high contrast. Perfect, Marianne. Who's next? Damien.
Peak interest. So you need to get the interest, so peaking the interest of the viewer.
How do we do this?
I suppose well, there's contrast with it.
So you guys are always very descriptive, which is great if you're explaining it to your friends. But you notice that you have to explain it in terms of terminology. If you train media buyers, you need to tell them what to do, and you cannot be descriptive because they don't know what exactly to do. Marianne told them, I want to see high contrast. Okay, so if they bring an image with no contrast, you just tell them, this is not high contrast. Again, which I've told many of you guys over the coaching chats, again. Damien, yes? Okay, when I ask you for images, what is it you don't deliver to me?
Stock images.
No stock images, perfect, Thank you, sir. The next one. Again, Damien, another
one. Would it be resolution, not pixelated?
Okay. See, you can do it. Okay, so now it's enough for you before you get all of them. Okay, no stock images, no blurry images, high contrast, right? Before I get stuck myself, let's see if somebody else can fill in the last 2. Because at some point, you know, it's just natural for you. You just can fill it out. You'll never make those mistakes. But in the start, it's very important that you have this as a checklist. And Eva, who's on the call as well, has made worksheets, which will come. I'm re-recording the native course in a couple next weeks. And then we'll add worksheets so you can print them out and you can keep them on your desk like this. And then you can just checklist them while you're making the ads. But we need 2 more. Who is here? Why? You know other 2 more than what is shown here?
I'll give it a try. I think the first one is relevant. It needs to be relevant to your flow and the copy.
Yes, in general.
And I remember last one is the use of arrows and circles.
Okay, which source doesn't allow you to use arrows and circles?
I don't know. Rev content?
Who knows? Where did Damien go? Is Damien still here? Yeah. Okay. Damien
MGID don't.
Yeah, perfect. MGID doesn't. It's not allowed. I don't really understand why, but there would be an exchange where it would be suitable, but they don't. Okay, arrows and circles, and then we're missing one. Stanley.
Yeah, you're asking me?
Yeah. I don't know if you have the list of the video or not, but to be fair, let me see. High contrast, no stock, no blurry images, arrows and circles. Oh, what is the 5th one?
It's curiosity.
Curiosity, damn, you're good. Okay, you're good today. The curiosity is obviously the biggest mover. So I would say Damien, pique interest, if that's what you said, it's pretty much the same, but curiosity is the keyword we're looking for. All right, guys, we did it. Strong. Obviously, there is these 5 key ones, and there's like sub key ones, which are important to consider, but this is basically the full list. All right, now we have this list, yes? Who can explain me when the arrows or circles are applied? Let's do Elijah's. Let's give it another shot. You can redeem yourself. Yeah, he's like, oh, don't pick me, don't pick me. No, wait. Let Sarunas say it, because he's laughing, but he shouldn't be laughing.
Yeah.
He can do it. Come on.
I'm not sure why we need the arrows and circles. I didn't see that.
You don't know? Or when would you use it if I give you the choice?
If I want to mention something, exactly.
Okay, so you would highlight something.
Yeah.
That's okay. So for example, if you're talking and you see all the screens of everybody, when you're talking, unmuted, I'm a host. So it doesn't highlight me because it assumes that everybody looks at me. But you have a highlight on your frame. Do you see it? Does everybody see it? Like a green highlight frame. It means that you're talking and the attention should be put on you. So when we apply a circle and an arrow, we do it on a 2 variable image. You're having 2 elements. So for example, in our previous example, it's the blood and the face, right? But if I want to, well, there are always elements like this, that for example, you're looking for the cup of coffee, you would highlight this, right? Because it is quite a busy image. This is a very bad example, but you want to highlight something to put the attention there. You get 10 points. Very good.
Thank you.
His first answer ever, and he knocked it out of the park. All right. Good job. All right, curiosity, one of the main movers. Yes. What is the elements that we would have? I know, Danuta, you haven't seen the course yet. We only spoke 1 hour ago, but it's your turn. Let's see if you are a genius. How would we create the curiosity?
So you just leave the open loop. So you make someone to click because you start the story, but you don't finish it, and someone have to click it. Our mind works that way, no? Actually, you have to click it to know what's going on.
Perfect. How would we do this in terms of an image? Because it's not about the copy, only the image.
So exactly what you just showed with the blood and woman, no? So you leave the open loop. You think, what's going on in here? What they trying to tell me? No, why? What is this red thing? Or why is she looking like this? That's the open loop.
Okay, so it's the how, what, why.
Yes.
Right. Those 3 questions, 100%. I think we'll get through our initial start very quickly. Perfect. Then we have 3 things left. No blurry images, makes sense for everybody because it's just low quality. No stock images. Why no stock images? That's a very good question, because I can't recall who it was, but I don't think he's here right now. But yesterday I got a supply of 50 images, of which 48 stock images, where I was wondering why, what is the situation there? Who knows what is important here? Why no stock images? Because some of these images, they're great, right? Let's have a look on Google. Well, with the dizziness, dizzy man, right? So why would this not be good? That's the real question, this image. I don't know, you're smiling, so I assume you know things that we don't know. I can't hear you yet, you're still muted.
I'm smiling for life, man. Just got a deposit from.
Oh, he gets the money, so he's smiling. Our big TikTok affiliate. Congratulations.
Thanks, man.
Filling up his pockets. Then we're always smiling. But to the point on this image, why do you think stock images are bad?
Because they're pretty much too much used all over the web.
That's one. And what's the other one?
If you got them right directly from the website, they're not gonna have the overlay stock image, right?
Yes, this one is a stock image, but doesn't have the copyright mark on it.
Maybe you can get a copyright notice.
Yes, that's another one, but that's not the main one, because those are things we would worry about, but not really as affiliates worry about, right? It will happen whenever it happens, and it is what it is. Okay, no problem. Let's switch to Murat. He was excited because it's actually a very simple thing.
I think because it feels staged, it's not authentic.
Yes, and what happens when it's this staged? So the angle is dizziness, yes?
Yeah.
So when we look at this image in terms of dizziness, how would you describe it? Describe this image for me in one sentence.
He has a headache.
Yeah, man who has headache, man who is dizzy. Yes? Yeah. And what else? Nothing else. That's it.
Nothing else. Yeah.
It's boring. There's no additional emotion. It's all triggered under pain. So what happens is, here is your angle. You have one chance on the dizziness. If the person somehow cannot relate or has no attention, he's gone. So this is 100,000 impressions, 3 clicks, right? Because it's just not interesting. If you would have interest-based targeting, where you target specifically on people who are dizzy, then it would make sense, right? Let's take a very crazy example. Let's take this one. Dizzy man, it says here, but this is crazy. This is funny. There's things floating around his face. What's going on? It already drags my attention 3 times more. And this is also a shit image, right? But still, we're looking at it. We're not making the relation here because this doesn't look like an old person or whatever. But the stock images in that regard, you could use, right? Something like this, you could test it. But what you'll often see is very low ICTRs. However, the people who do click through might convert because they have that exact problem. And that's probably not with the dizziness angle, but more like the bloody black foods from the diabetes stuff, right? They have that specific fear, and therefore they tend to convert. Make sense?
Makes sense.
Perfect. And then we finish them off. What time is it? Okay, we can do 20 minutes of questions. If there's no questions, we'll call it a day. Who's up? You guys always have a lot of questions, but don't be afraid to ask them. Romo is putting off his headset. He's putting a voice note. No, you can continue. I will ask you a question later. Let's go to Sudhakar. Yes, always full of energy. Let's see if you can answer this question for me. In terms of the black food you spoke about for the blood sugar, yes, you gave us the angle for the, okay, let me see. So, this is a little bit too intense, but this is what happens when you lay too much if you're overweight on one specific position, and then you get this. That's why people need to turn them. Very intense. Okay, in what a scenario would you say this is still suitable or not?
Not, because probably it's not a common scenario for blood sugar. It's kind of like probably a little bit too intense, and then probably people will say, okay, that's not me. So they will not be relate, I feel.
They cannot relate because they haven't experienced it. But
yeah,
you said that it would be their true fear.
No, but it's basically a lot of people, what they'll do is, if it is too intense, they think that it's not for me, even though that may be in their vicinity. I mean, they may be prone to that. But if it is too much, too much deep into that, I think they'll not, they'll just try to skip it. I feel rather than that, if you should go to the mild between what they are with a very extreme to the middle ground.
So something like this, would that make more sense? Because this would have the same result. This woman needs to be turned daily or she gets these crazy blisters, which are a little throw up, but that's what would happen. Is that what you mean or not?
No, this is a blood sugar angle. I think I normally don't use extreme obesity, but I will try to do a medium with medium wounds kind of thing. That's
medium
what I
obesity
think
with medium wounds. Okay, and how would we reflect this on an image? Because that's quite descriptive. You would just pick still the wounds, but then a little less intense.
Yeah, little less intense.
I'm getting a little nauseous looking at all of this, actually. Let me just click it away. I still need to, it's almost dinner time, isn't it? All right, so Sudhakar, thank you. That makes sense. Definitely, I would not pursue any blood sugar offer myself because I couldn't be bothered making these images. I don't feel I have that right connection, right? And that's also very important to consider. All right, we will do a little quiz on this. In terms of the landing pages we can use, yes, I know most of you guys are all pretty fan of the ClickBank VSLs, right? I think a lot of the people here today have run some form of that flow. What landing page do we use for a VSL? Let's go to Rommel. Rommel?
Hi, Collins.
Do we know the answer?
I don't know the answer.
No, it's actually quite an easy one. So the question is this: what lender do we use for a VSL offer? So in terms, what kind of lenders do we have on Native? Which formats could we use?
With a quiz one?
Quiz is one option.
That's like a long one.
Yeah, the long one. But what is that called? The long one. That's okay. Okay, we'll do quiz, and then the long one. Okay, and what else? Because we maybe have 4 or 5 different versions. If you don't know them all, you gave us one good one. That's already great. Is this it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, at least we got one. Yeah, Damien, I know you know them all, but let's give somebody else a shot. Ahmed, let's give it a shot. Do we know one apart from the quiz and the long one? What is the long one called, Ahmed? Do you know? No?
No, I don't know.
You know any additional ones to these?
I would say the VOD.
Which one? One more time.
VOD.
Video on demand?
Yeah.
In terms of a lender, what would that look like? Because maybe we're talking about the same thing and just naming it different.
Yeah, because we will put like a video for a case or something like this. It's an ending.
A video, and is it a real video or is it a fake video?
No, it's a fake one.
Fake
there is
one,
a
okay.
page. Yeah, there is one on the landing.
Yeah, so we call it a VSL lender. Why?
Yeah.
Because we use it for a VSL offer, right, Rommel?
Yeah.
We call it a VSL lender. I will show you because we use it for. Thank you, Ahmed. Perfect. Because we use this for. They call it VSL1 and VSL2. In my account, you will see the numbers. You don't have this, so just ignore the numbers. But it's called Neutron VSL1. You see, and there's another one which is called Neutron VSL2, because these are specifically designed to fit video sales letters (VSL) of ClickBank offers. That's why we have these pages. One for diabetes, but you can change them in any Neutron format. Good. All right. Now the question remains: who knows? So the answer is not quiz, and we have the long one. Who knows what the long one is called? Because it's very important to know. Come on, guys. You guys know this. Just shout something.
2 hands.
Yeah, but I know these guys know it for sure because they've been with us for a long time. And I also know that the new guys must know this. And some guys are beating themselves up right now because they don't know this. But this is basic theory, right? Let's give it to our funny guys. Elijah's. Let's give it a shot. What is the long one called in terms of lenders?
The long one should be with some story, I think so.
Yes, but what is it called?
What is it called? Good question. I don't know. There are some story about the problem and story based. Yeah.
Saru, you know? No? Okay. Fexley, you know? Just not if you know, or if not, just move your head. You know? I don't know if you're nodding to me or not. Fexley, you know or not? Yeah, you. No? Okay. William, you know? You're a little bit in the dark. Yes? Do you know the answer? I can't hear you.
William, could you unmute yourself first?
Yeah, there we go.
I think the answer is editorial.
2 thumbs up for you. Advertorial. There we go. Okay, so another format. Perfect. Thanks, William.
Welcome.
Okay, these are the lender options we have. Just finishing up for you guys. Quiz, VSL, tutorial, half-page tutorial, 1-button click-through lender, which is basically the same as VSL, but it doesn't end in VSL. And then we have a quiz, tutorial hybrid, what you use for the insurance. Now the question is, the big question, because we all know these. If you run Native Ads, you don't know these, do your fucking homework, right? That's simple as it is. But the question is, why? This is one of the all-time favorite of affiliates. Why don't we use a quiz? And then we go back to the audience behavior panels. I know that training is 2 hours long and it's hardcore information the whole time, but it's very important to understand because there's one specific reason why we don't use a quiz. And I know we're going a little bit away from the creatives, but I think that makes sense. I want to know why we don't use a quiz and who can explain me here today. It's funny that we have on this call, I'm not going to say who it is, but there's affiliates here doing more than 100 grand a month, and they cannot explain why we are not using a quiz, right? Which for your guys are very good at one thing, but we need to be good at the entire business model, right? Which basically creates a longevity. Fexley, I thought I saw a hand there. You want to give it a shot? I can't hear you yet. You need to put the unmute.
Let me guess, because the quiz is too simple for a relatively important topic like Neutron, like the product you are trying to sell through video.
All right, that's the one option. It's not correct, I'm afraid, but it's a good guess. It would make sense, definitely, but too bad. Damien.
I'd say with a Quizlander suitable to Facebook because the actual leads interacting with Facebook and they're accepting that they're going to be disrupted to do something like that, whereas Native is the person's clicking on an ad and they want to get straight to where they're going to. They don't want to be disrupted. They don't want to be stopped. And by asking questions, it's, yeah, as you said, it's too interactive. It's not, the engagement's wrong.
Okay, we have half a good answer here, Damien. Thank you. So the first part is right. A quiz is interactive and they come from an engagement-based platform, which is, for example, Facebook, right? You're on Facebook to consume content, but you're also on Native to consume content, right? Because if I'm on CNN, I'm consuming content. What is the difference and why we do not use a quiz? So Facebook, we know, is engagement-based and Native is not engagement-based, but what are we doing on Native? For example, why we would need an advertorial, Damien?
Because Native's more, it's more information based, isn't it? You're actually looking for specific information. So that's your flow. You're actually looking there for.
Okay, but it's again descriptive, because in a quiz I also get information. But how do I get the information?
Okay.
Okay, so I'll show you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
The CNN.com provides news articles. I'm reading news articles. Why does the advertorial look like a news article? Because it's the similar behavior pattern. On Facebook, I engage, I like, I comment, I share. In the quiz, I engage. I click on answers, which I think are right, and it leads me to the offer. Engagement, engagement, conversion. And here it is, information consumption on the same pattern as native, which basically, when we go to the CNN, CNN again, if I read an article like this, look at this, yes? This is an article from CNN. Images, text, images, text. Now I go to this Neutron tutorial in the landing page builder. Images, text, images, text, images, text, and fake comments, right? The behavior pattern is the exact same. Yes, there's a little bit of additional stuff around it, but if you would throw them into the quiz, don't get me wrong, you'll still get 20% CTR because people are curious, right? You already pulled in a click, but the pattern of conversions, you can make ClickBank ads, make a crazy good landing page, but if there's a disconnect with the offer, the conversion rate will be low, right? We need a coherent flow. So in this scenario, the native makes sense. There's a header, there's the headline, and we include all these mechanics. Everybody understands this or needs more explanation on this? Just hands up for everybody who understands this. Everybody a little bit energy drained today, I think. Yeah, I see very quick hands, quick hands. Quick, Murat, you understand this? Yes? Yes, okay. Promo, you understand this? Yes, okay, perfect. Then we're good. Everybody a little bit scared today. Yes, because there's not many people today. Everybody's like, oh, all eyes on me. But this is obviously an important factor. And cool thing, when you scroll down, you have more native ads by Outbrain. And you can see, for example, how small these are. So when you would have an ad, for example, like this, well, we can all see it's a world map, but whatever it's highlighting, you cannot see. So you would rely on the copy, which makes it a bad advertisement, right? Because you cannot see it. And this is obviously also an affiliate ad, which you can barely see what it is because it's some drain spewing out water. And it says, thanks to this trick, your house can have like isolation at extreme low rates, right? And it says like isolation experts. And when you go on it, it's like advertorial, which is quite cool, which is interactive. The call center wants probably leads per state province, right? So you just click on the one you're at, and then it will push you into the quiz opt-in funnel for any insurance application-based affiliate flow, which I think is really cool. They did a really good job in getting us into the flow, and they promote an Outbrain. So the advertorial comes first, and they have like some style of opt-in form quiz type fill out, but first the advertorial, right? Because that's the core of native, and that's how they bridge the content through. Awesome. Any questions about this?
Hey, Colin, Aleno.
Yes.
So you're saying that it's not recommended that we use quiz for native?
Yes, sir. 100%. It is possible, but I would not recommend it.
Okay, I was just going to start a campaign with using a quiz for a low ticket price.
Well, that's good because we saved you a lot of testing budget right now. Don't do that. But okay. What is the offer?
It's a recipe to burn fat. It's an ebook. It costs like $20.
Oh, I spoke to a media buying agency in Brazil. They just texted me that they will sign on. I will introduce you. They do 50 grand on ebooks. So that's quite
50
cool.
grand dollars?
A month. Yeah, a month profit on ebooks. That's quite cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a huge market in Brazil, right? and you might be able to learn from them. They can learn from you. What is important is that it's obviously the opt-in depends, right? If you use a VSL, which I think makes the most sense to sell an ebook, right, story-based, then again, you would use a VSL lender in that scenario. So to put a quiz and then put it towards a VSL, you again have the mismatch. Understand?
You have a mismatch if you put a quiz. Okay, but then it's such a low ticket item. It's less than $20 that I think. What I thought was, okay, if I get 100 clicks for $4 or less, I can make a profit.
So, yeah, what happens is with okay, so I'll give you an example. Yes, in the low tier countries, I took Italy for an example. For us, the CPM is less than $1, right? And it's still a Western civilization. The CPM is, let's say, $1, right? So it's not as cheap as Brazil, but there's lots of opportunity. I put in the quiz, right? I had a maybe 25% CTR, and the conversion rate was, let's say, 0.1%. Very much terrible, right?
1.8. It's a lot.
0.1. 0.1.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so 0.1. Then what I did is I put in advertorial. The CTR went down, but usually we see in the United States a CTR on the bridge page, landing page, 1%, right? 1%, 2%, sometimes 3%. In Italy, we had a CTR of 12%, and the conversion rate was 38%, because they're
38.
sold by the advertorial. Yes, they're sold by the advertorial. If you send them to an order form through a quiz, there is usually, you need to have them played emotionally and to prep their mindset out of a native ad. There's so much other things they have just seen, right? Based on hardcore information. In this example, we're reading about hijacking, or it's about the Belarus plane, right? That was taken down yesterday or whatever, some arrest. And if you're on Facebook, you're reading about somebody who had a daughter, which is great, but you have no emotional investment in that it sticks with your brain. But now you're reading a whole story on this, right? And if now I have to switch, and people are asking me questions on why I like PlayStation, right? There's a little bit of a disconnect. And that is just the flow, even if it's hard to accept for everybody here today. No quizzes. Why? Because all the big affiliates are not using quizzes, which means they have spent a lot of money on testing it. And we're a little bit ignorant, right? So what we'll do is what the same thing Aleno will do, is he will test it anyway, right? He will test $100 on this quiz, and he will see it doesn't convert as well, and then he will ditch it. And that's good, because you need to be able to experiment. Because if you make a quiz advertorial hybrid, all of a sudden you might be able to outcompete everybody. But first you need a profitable flow. And
one more question. Do we have a lesson on advertorials, Colin?
Well, I don't make them because it takes fucking ages to build them, right? So we just steal them. So for example, here you have an example. In the scenario of how to write them, we could do a masterclass if everybody's interested in that, in building one, but it will be like 6 hours. Because if you want to build one from scratch, the copy is very important, right? If you want to buy these advertorials, I think you can buy them. I think it's $1,100. Then you have a unique one written just for you. If you buy them for $50, they just steal them from a spy tool, clean out the malware, and then give it to you, right? So to get them designed as we have, obviously coded them, recoded them into this editor, it was really expensive.
I got one for $20 in Brazil.
So the question is, how good is it, right?
It's okay. I read it and I'm gonna run it. It's okay. It was $20. I can make enhancements, but just so you know.
Yeah, I mean, feel free to do what you want. You know, I see a lot of people who get their ads done on Fiverr. You know, native ads on Fiverr, like the sketchy ones. I mean, if you want small profits, that's fine. But I thought you wanted to join the big boys.
Yeah, I got you.
Right? Okay, perfect.
Thank you, Colin.
Welcome. Anybody else for today, or we're done? Because on Thursday, we're back with something else. Let me see. What do we have on Thursday? Stan, are there any more questions?
Yes, there is. Murat has a question.
Sure thing. And what is the question?
Yes, just a quick question off topic. I am partnering with ClickDealer and Gotcha at the moment. Do you have some recommendations for native offers, or is it sufficient for me at the moment?
Gotcha, ClickDealer. I'll probably go with ClickDealer because they're a little bit more beginner friendly, I reckon. Who's your account manager?
Elena.
In Amsterdam based office?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, okay, nice. You want to do Neutron?
Yeah.
I don't think they have trials. All they have is straight sell. So probably it's a little bit, I wouldn't say out of reach, but it wouldn't be the best place to start. You ask them if they have some cash on delivery, because I think they do, and it's in-house as well. So that would be a good starting point. Probably anyway, Eastern Europe would be good.
Okay.
Yes, okay, perfect.
Yes, okay, perfect.
That's it?
That's it.
All right, that was easy. Anybody else? Nope, all good. All right, another round, all done. Next Thursday, which is in 2 days, we'll be back with some deep optimization in the new tracker. So tomorrow morning, we go live with not exactly a new tracker, but it will look and work 100 times better than before, which is a blessing, right? Because sometimes there was some little hiccup. On Thursday, we'll deep dive into $1 million campaign. Probably not. We'll deep dive into maybe a 10K per month profitable campaign, just to see where the opportunities are. I would like to see if people, I spoke with Y, if he wants to introduce his campaign, and perhaps we can do some optimization there. I would recommend you to show up, because obviously this is a testing video, right? Learning how to make creatives. The deep optimization is one of the things that is extremely difficult to learn on your own. So if we're on a call with everybody, I would recommend you to be there, or at least watch the replay in order to grasp that kind of depth. Because in the course format, we only go in so much detail because it has to be suitable for everybody. And on these calls, we can really drill down the data to find those golden nuggets. Thanks, everybody. Have a great week ahead, and then we'll pick it up on Thursday. Bye-bye.